Now,
telling to risk it. He insisted on helping me yesterday, and I finally got him to admit that he would get it up.
so he was quite feisty about the doctor. He said, I will go to the doctor and demand answers. So did he go to the doctor and demand answers? Okay.
You know, in spite of putting on the website that
There's 2 lots here. Somebody sorting this out. There's just
2 lots.
I don't know what. Well, there's a top bit down the bottom and a bit up the top. So I don't know who's who here.
I don't know what the one is that's down the bottom.
Your name.
So that's all for Geshe.
Who's
in the gone part?
That's one.
Your personal. Right. Okay. Right. So I need to put this under there anyway.
Do you want to hold on to that one?
That's all
Okay.
Who will not be coming for lunch?
Oh, he's not coming.
She's got other
She's a naughty girl.
appointments.
Yeah, she's naughty.
A naughty girl.
It was all too last minute, I'm afraid.
So are you staying in Britain or coming straight away?
Staying tonight. The traffic gets too horrendous.
Sorry? Hot Sutra. I prostrated the eye at Triple Gem. Thus it here at one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling on the massive Vajra's mountain, together with a great community of monks and a great community of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara said, perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the fine perfection of wisdom? He said that, and Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom, should go upon like this correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition, factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, but without character. Unceased stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no touch, no phenomenon. There is no I element in sound, not including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on the one perfection of wisdom. The mind without obscuration, without fear, completely passing beyond error, they reach the end point of Nibbana. All the Buddhas dwell on the three times. Completely awakened, the unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of the great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as the truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Ayata Om Gate Gade Bharaga. Shariputra, Bodhisattva Mahasatva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose in that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasatva, Arya Avalokiteshvara shame. Well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasatva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding their entirety along with the world of both humans, Asuras, and Gandharva, were overjoyed and found the praise God spoken by the Bhagavan. To the brain of the trees and the three chakras, so violent the holy yogas of using space, powerful clairvoyance and magical illumination, look after practitioners like a mother hedgehog. Akasamaratsa Shadara Samarayate. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisattva. By the teachings of the three sublime jewels possessing the power of truth, may in and out of the ages of the world, Shinton Korea Soul, may all negative forces opposed to God be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, be separated from problems and harmful conditions to die. May all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, and may the auspicious and synthetic happiness here right now.
Sanji Chadan Sanji Chanamba Chanshu Bali Dami Jasuchi Gari Shishiki Somunji Roland Veche Sanji Tripola Shu Sanji Chadan Sodi Chanala Chancho Badi Dami Kyasuchi Dagi Chushi Gide Sana Drola Beche Sanji Drogora Shu Sanji Chadan Sodi Chanala Chancho Badi Dami Kyasuchi Dagi Chushi Gide Sana Drola Beche Sanji Drogora Shu Ang tu dinge zone ta tong ji pang bi che dang bi chun de ko dong de la chang ze lo good morning everyone. Dire se ni ba la nga ge cha wa la ni ba la nga ge me ni ba ta nga ge chi pe Nebatang, Nagichi, Ayutan, Nimbu Nagel, never Chawatan, Nimu Nagel Ribatan, Nimbu Nagedi Payunos.
All right, so going back to the text, we're going to pick up from verse 52. First of all, let's just look at where we are at the text. So we're looking at the second power of the four powers, the power of stability or steadfastness. We are looking at extensive explanation of each one of the factors, the prides that you develop in developing the power of steadfastness. We've covered the first one, the pride of karma or in one's actions. Then being proud of one's capacities, divided into 5 points. The shortcomings of taking no pride in one's capacity. The benefits of taking pride in one's capacity. Abiding in pride is an antidote. It is unreasonable to be proud of the afflictions. And finally, the benefits of pride is an antidote.
Munzin tuya di an nibalaya ngaji chese di tinsares tan niba zu di an ngaji chizona dene an nyogda soya nibala sobata piditon sangdai marwas ro tangan zambilin di nangole kichini ani zambilin ki shidi ki tsawa di ani cham nyinji chanchu semle tu yabadi ro chambala tu yabat siu shujinza di chimbi nibadi ra di chimbi nibadi nganjol yobati ngunzin tu bitone ani oba chedi an nibala ngage chedi ta zuro di inser sangdos ra.
So the text here uses the term pride for looking at pride in one's capacity. Really what we're getting at is self-confidence. Having self-confidence in one's own ability. This is what we're meaning when we speak about pride in this section. So it is a way of thinking in which we recognize that I have the ability to do it. So we have different problems in our societies attributed to people that behave in all sorts of ways, including being motivated by pride. But we don't have to look at that now. What we look at is how to develop world peace and well-being. To develop peace in the world and well-being, we need to nourish loving kindness and compassion. It is clear that the root of happiness and well-being in the world is loving kindness and compassion. So we want to capitalize on our potential to fully develop loving kindness and compassion to others. This is the main type of confidence that we develop here. We develop confidence in our ability to develop loving kindness to others.
Tereda di chimbi niba yoba di kadzinga zungundu songsamba tawajedan jowachim sami duden di ani sula tobiyores lavana nganzula tobiywas ra inza di tonda druptures ra nganzula ya chambada ninji chanju semdi labsha lamdin nangin ki tembi tabu temba chomdin di khora nangi ani luden dindiji lamba ina ani chambada tsewa ani chanju sem druptu Tugre Sonza, the Nanzu Ludin Langoros, things that D Langoba Moshin, Gunzen Dichi Tony, Malia, the drip in never use and begin, and it Boba Chico di Pemas of Kichimo, right? And she cash in Bajala Shachin, the cash as a Karina Yungu and not like and it Chikizo Kongo said, and Nanagu the Sagu said, D do dingy Pumu di Den Chinjela, Chuni Doji Chaganza, D Kashas, it's all in Samaris. And it Chagin Sangoya di Sangaduna, and in Gagin this Tebainaya, and in Gagin di Tony, Kasoda, Kashasa the Chagos, Kashasa Ragos Maris Ra, Cousin Twinkin Chans and Sanganza, Twinkin Chans and Sanganza, Tit on the Drugo Wars, Dinza, enriching wins in Chili Tony, and it Tangan to Manchula, Jubaina, Yacha Yatam and Nimanimala, Yajibu Yungu Saris Ra.
We have obtained a precious human body with the 8 freedoms and 10 richnesses. And therefore, as we said before, when we discussed having attained this good working basis, this physical basis, that on the basis of this body, we can develop loving kindness and compassion. So we've already spoke about it before when we recognize that we have freedoms and opportunities. So this is an indication that we can put it into practice. And this is what the Buddha said, the Bhagavan said when he gave teachings on freedoms and richnesses. Therefore, he himself indicated that we can develop loving kindness and compassion in the mind of enlightenment. And this is the main reason that we use for recognizing that we have the ability to develop those states. So this is so important to recognize that we have everything that we need, all the conducive conditions for developing loving kindness and compassion to others, because often we look elsewhere for coming up with reasons why we cannot do it. We think that I don't have the time to do it, or I'm sick, I don't feel well, and so forth, and therefore I cannot develop loving kindness and compassion to others. So rather than submitting to some adverse conditions that we might encounter, we recognize that so long as we have this aggregate, which is in the nature of suffering for that long, there will be adverse conditions that we will experience. It comes together with having a body such as this. But rather than giving way to those adverse conditions and thereby thinking that I cannot do it, I cannot develop loving kindness, compassion, and so forth, we recognize that we have freedoms and richnesses, the 8 freedoms and the 10 richnesses, and therefore we have the ability to do it. So it's so important to recognize that we do have the ability to do that, and through that to develop self-confidence. The first point in this section is the shortcomings of taking no pride in one's capacity. So the section doesn't say that we don't have the ability to do it, that we don't have the capacity to do it. It indicates that we do have the ability to do it, but we take no pride in it, in the sense that we don't have self-confidence in our own abilities. So this is the first point in this section.
Kayang kading tauju kadedani nyamchona tong chungo never che shimju so towalam pong taro yotum chis.
Looking at the next 6 lines, starting from verse 52, when encountering a dead snake, even crows will act as though they are Garudas. If I'm weak, I shall be harmed even by a small downfall. How do the faint-hearted who have given up exerting themselves find liberation from destitution?
다 로드 태반줄나 자카다냥 카딘다고 아니 그 지구슈지 밥진 비기 로토라야 밥 지구슈 제와서다 대신도 가데 당이 님비고 또 아니 냠바이나스 총원 차와이노 아니 또 총지기야 베 아니 랑나야 파치지 네버치비 삼바shum바 체니 되니 준비 쪼버토라 폼비캅 네캅레스 남야 타와 여던 치 레르 좀니 류숨 좀 주반냐버 기비체로스.
The commentary says one should generate the force of the antidote to destroy the afflictions, because even crows act like Garudas when they meet with a dead snake, in that they put up this appearance in which they pretend to be so impressive and strong when they encounter a dead snake. Similarly, if one's antidotes are weak, then even small downfalls will harm the path with obstruction. When one is destitute due to having given up the striving for the purpose of self and others, due to discouragement, then how can one be liberated? Being destroyed by laziness, one's action of body and mind degenerate.
이번 날개 집이 폐유 카리어레스 소술라야 니바이가 여보 문진치는 뽑아치는 폐유 카리어스 날개 좁게비니 전부 인장 토바가스 대비 샘 땜바이 또 남는 숑셔티 단 똥에 팜지는 감슨 간데 세기 교스.
Now looking at the next section that explains the benefits of being confident or having pride in one's capacity, it says, by generating pride and exertion, even the great will find it hard to overcome it. Therefore, with a steady mind, I shall overcome the downfalls. If I'm defeated by a downfall, my wish to be victorious over the three realms will be a joke.
지금에서 님비 떡집이 말겠던 저기 쪼집이네 방세 전부 인장 예장 안 토박가위 대위나 샘 템보이 동안은 숑버 차디 당 동이 방법 제나 아니 감성 탐지리 야월되버니 제기 있는 수준이소스.
So it's getting in a similar point. Through the pride that generates a forceful antidote and the generation of striving through the application, it will be difficult to overcome even by great objects of abandonment. Therefore, with a steadfast mind, one should destroy the downfalls. Because if one is overcome by the downfalls, then the wish to conquer the three realms becomes a joke.
데리다 먼저 따지 동 방샤라 뉴문 비초 아니 가주스기 슉첨보다 또 첨부 여바 있느냐 제당기 님비 좀 맞추기기 네바칸야다 미스거레스 님비 좀 투거레스 이내야 님비 좀더 맞좀디 아니 님보 디케발야 소수 아니 조와다 아니 비기 뽑아 치발야 라리그레스 로 조와다 뽑아 챔비토니 님부 깨바이나 님부 디기 좀 간 완전 간이요 말레스 다 대달 마치바 아니 지 님비 촐야 아니 나게 마치 뽑아 마치 조바 마치 대바이나 아니 샘디 비 동메 판바 체치니 규도레스 다 딘디질야 아니 감성 탐질이 잡을 지긴 세디 다 게모쇼에 니차군도레스.
When we consider downfalls, the objects of abandonment, everything that is affiliated with the afflictions, even if they arise forcefully in a very strong way, none of them can withstand the power of the antidote. It doesn't matter how strongly they arise, none of them can withstand the power of the antidotes. The antidotes can destroy them. So it all hinges on our self-confidence in having the ability to do that. It hinges on how much effort we put into the process of destroying our afflictive states of mind. If you have no confidence in yourself, if you don't put effort into the process, you'll not be able to bring those adverse conditions down. But if you do develop self-confidence in yourself and you put effort into doing so, none of those afflictive states of mind, downfalls, and objects of abandonments would be able to withstand the antidotes.
Pena nimegi sematu yagi mumbachi kyamevas. Kedzi nimi sematu mumbajama de mumba mares. Ta inayang children la sobata and timji and nimaka baina dribaina ko mumbachaya di kuchinyero. Tinashingi dame batobi loy chamatu bigi. Ani nyumumbi mumbashi zawnini gamaras yinaya susu semleya ani chadang dang lelo dang o dibdi gepe ani ta chuden ta divni debaina ani semdi ani panja nyumumbi chole kaduyina ani gyaltoyachik gamaras ro
Chuden sadich
chuden timbanako
No dark spot can withstand the sunlight. If the sun shines and sends its rays of light, darkness will be vanquished. But then, if there is a dark cloud in the sky, it can prevent for a certain duration the illumination of the sun. And if it prevents the illumination of the sun, if it blocks the illumination of the sun, darkness can remain for a certain duration or to a certain extent. But when this dark cloud goes away, darkness will not be able to withstand the rays of the sun. Similarly, when we think of the darkness of the afflictions, the darkness of ignorance will not be able to withstand the light of wisdom or the antidotes. It might be that for the time being, your ability to destroy the darkness of ignorance is blocked by having no self-confidence in yourself or not putting an effort into doing that, and therefore the darkness of ignorance will not go away. But if you do exert power in order to do so, and you develop self-confidence in yourself, you will be able to do it.
Nyumbi nimbolaya ani popa de dembitoni ani sem never chawadita mintun chol jawachibigi tap yashu the diris.
And the next point explained abiding in pride as the antidote, which means developing self-confidence in abiding within the antidote. And if you do that, you'd be able to destroy the adversity.
Kansana dindi and Narget Yavaina, Nimbu Narget Nevaina, Dag Konde Gachatis, Dati, Ani Panja Mintuncho, Nimobata, Shiji Juba, Kunde Pe, Gatures, and Da Le Suyan Gamatas, Soso Pigi, and Nimobata, Shiji Juba, Kangia on the Dumutavach. Bena Javasingi said Daki, Nayadela never chast.
So the next point that explains abiding in pride with respect to the antidote says, I will conquer everything and nothing at all shall conquer me. So with pride or self-confidence, I will conquer everything, which means the two sets of obscurations, those adverse conditions, afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations, those adversities will be conquered and nothing at all shall conquer me. I, the son of a lion like Victor, shall dwell in this pride.
강기 시나 드다 미디 기르다 टावर 제바 야와 싱기 기세 다페테 다키소스
Then one should abide on the supreme pride that thinks, I should conquer all my faults, but I should not be conquered even by one of the objects of abandonment of the three realms. If it is asked, who is doing this? It is oneself, the child of a lion king, who frightens the animals that are demons and foes.
Gavis David Daki Society. Ani the Dindich any Gavasingi that says Kurda Makirti, Gavasingi seeing Yambi, Twin Yambita, Tangayeti, go that di Kurda Makirti, the social rally was. And Sanjum did the Chamni Chanju Sang Soba. Tinti pe kang yobadi suzu one time so loud lambaina gavisi kibades. And di manoni ko ni kun dedevaina and so pigi gavisi le and trovata chardo with us.
The section says, who is doing this? It is oneself, the child of the Lion King, which means that it is ourselves, the children of the victors, the children of the Buddha, which means it is ourselves as bodhisattvas. So if we recognize that we can develop compassion, loving kindness in the mind of enlightenment as children of the Buddhas, we would be able to seize them up, to take them up. But if we remain asleep, if we remain idle, if we don't stand up to ourselves, so to speak, this will not be developed, and thereby we will not be the children of the conquerors, bodhisattvas.
The kanji and Yavasingi gisi Kurvalaya, Chagin Kargoslandi, Nonzolaya chick, any Subut of Shita, Yupenjo the Sobata chick, any Kasota chick. And Pongro Pigi, Mamma Sobatindi, Kango Mudas. So the Chagin, so the Tawajet and George and Samivita, Milu Cavachenti, who was King Anzo Yavanza, the Koran Tomita, drip to Yanza, drip to a chick, Madravina, Su non to this. So running non to remember, Sukangi non to Maras, Ra. But Ding wins in Chivitoni, and non to show you about wins in Chetovana, non to delay. You talk a tabshi chidros, drop a ding on the salmon, Jimmy go series.
And when it says it is oneself the child of the Lion King, which means that, and it sounds very impressive, very strong, it is not that our strength is attributed to how physically strong we are, or how much money and possessions we have, how wealthy we are, or how many troops and legions do we have in our command. To be regarded as the son of the Lion King, which means a bodhisattva, we need to have freedoms and richnesses. And we have them. We have freedoms and richnesses. So if we do not make use of our own freedoms and richnesses, it is our own fault. It is our own mistake. We cannot blame others for not being able to use them. We can only blame ourselves. It is our own mistake.
The Shiva Newman being I get our Miribala Suns, and then I get the Bobbing I get ye, and in Newman being I get me, Gawachi, and Newman being I get Chevala, and Chamriba Suns, Newman being I get la Mevata, T. Yemita, Te Pombaribos.
Now, since this section speaks of having to develop pride in one's capacity, then Shantideva goes on and explains the type of pride that one should not have, which is explained here, that it is unreasonable to be proud of the afflictions. So an afflicted pride or pride within the afflictions is explained in 3 points. Did you say decrying or decreeing? Decrying pride in the afflictions, the disadvantages of that, and the reasonableness of abandoning it. So looking at the next section, next section, verse 56, it says, any migrating being is destroyed by pride. Afflicted, he has no pride. Those with pride do not succumb to the power of the enemy. They have come under the power of the enemy of pride. So this section is quite clear, and we also need to push ahead to make sure that we finish this chapter at least today. So any migrator that is destroyed and overcome by pride, that is a puffed up mind, is controlled by the afflictions and not a person possessing great pride. Those possessing pride are suitable to not to fall under the control of the enemy. But the migrators with a puffed up mind fall under the control of the enemy of the affliction of pride. Let's look at the disadvantages of an afflicted pride in the next 6 lines. So it says, starting from verse 57, being filled up with the affliction of pride, one will be led by pride to the lower realms. It destroys the joys of human beings. A slave eating others' leftovers. Dumb, ugly, and weak, one will be derided by all.
yik dewa so mi gadun chombatang se meba lomu chobatang jengi ondu kyebe jengi se save tendan and shiva lembatang zug mudukchi nyam chongwatang rang ngus neba majeke jengi lingangi tamjetun nyebarin kyebe sem kimbe ngajeki powerchaws.
Explaining the faults of an afflicted pride, the commentary says the following faults will occur if one is filled with afflicted pride. One will be led by pride to the lower realms. Even if one is reborn a human, it destroys the joys of being human, such as mental happiness. One will live as a beggar without food. One will be a slave controlled by others and have to eat their food. One would be mentally stupid, ugly, and weak. Even though one is harmed directly by others, one will always be derided by all others, verbally and physically. Even though one is not harmed directly by others, one will always be derided by others, verbally and physically. Therefore, one should abandon the pride of the puffed up mind. 인치게로 칼람에 빵고다고 되고 그래서. Now, one of the points in the faults of pride says that one will live as a beggar without food. So that requires a little bit of explanation.
se meba homu cheni soba kieba tsamjigi karso taji habkyu yimbi ngeba yo mares inaya se chorchin ani mezi kangza la ya se tendini se chidu kale jamnaya se marani lom degung kachigoras the di ako le ngimbigi namen chagores chetu nyini ani se and so di shani dribble ani kala go kadlaya ani chi jinda somsayari kanji rangi Tusum consum ya Parchimandro Chedu, se phone so di wishing some chagores.
Now this section requires a little bit of explanation because at least the way that it is read in Tibetan, which is, you could say, similar to the way that it reads in English, it speaks about a beggar. Now, monastics are those who goes on alms, which means that they beg for food, you could say. But so you can say, Geshe says that you can regard, for example, Shantideva would be a person, for example, that goes around and beg for food. That's someone that doesn't have food and goes around on alms, collecting food. But then you would consider to be a person that is doing that is not necessarily doing that as a condition of poverty or someone that is completely destitute. But there are those who either beg for food and not get what they need, or that most of the time is consumed by looking for sources of food or looking for sustenance, so that they have no consideration for anything else whatsoever. You can say that Shantideva was also a beggar in the sense that he belonged to this group of people, monastics, that were receiving alms or begging for food. However, he was using most of his time for practice, for seeking the Dhamma, which means that you could be looking for food or you could be one that is going on alms, but it doesn't mean to say that that is a result of a certain adverse situation. If you use most of your time for seeking the Dhamma and put it into practice, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Then that depong ribani, sumba depong ribani, that only Tanigi Torgoya di Nanchong Tangoya di Numung Marget Chagores, Yarumu Tangoya, the Numung Marget Chagores, Panibanes, Nargi, King, Katuchi, Ten Marget Toma, member Chinda Yimbamus.
Then the next point in that section explains that therefore pride is something that needs to be cast aside, far away. It says, tough people inflated by pride are also included amongst those having pride. Tell me, what is the inferior like?
Ninji yurang was that ninji yurang is Tabju Shuch, the Dilly Tabjoj, ninji sag yulchita, yomarit.
In short, what this section is saying is that someone that is full of themselves, a proud person, is for us an object of compassion. What we ought to have for that person is a sense of compassion.
The new moving idea is same kinship, Jean de Cubi, Yigi Katuchin, Tail, Naja Chimpochin Tobainas, Ninji Nis Cubi, membership, Chindashi Yimba, drive on the song, Najet and the middle source.
And the commentary reads, if the ascetics who overcome difficulties with a mind filled with and controlled by afflicted pride belong to the very proud, then what is there to say about the inferiors that are the object of compassion? Since they are controlled by the enemy, it is unsuitable to be proud. Then the last point in the section that explains being proud in one's capacity, it says the benefits of pride is an antidote in verse 59. Let's look at this verse. It says, whoever seizes pride in order to conquer the enemy of pride, he is the one having pride, the victorious hero. Whoever definitely destroys the rampage of this enemy of pride completes the results of a victor in accordance with the wishes of migrating beings.
Teta kanji nyum bidali gyawa chegwana nimbu ngaje chingu res. Ra nimbu ngaje chingi ani nyum bili namba gyawi ge ani pawo chiyobate nimbu ngaje chingi dichago res. Nimbu ngaje da demba yena ani pigi nyum bidda 좀 무투바 강요 말했어. 아니 조브 산지 제부 조브 제바 대야 아니 민병 알게 때네 조브 치그레스.
An afflicted pride is the bondage that needs to be destroyed. This is what needs to be destroyed, afflicted pride. This is a bondage. In order to destroy that, we use pride as the antidote, antidotal pride. In order to attain the state of a victor, which means to obtain victory over afflicted pride, we develop antidotal pride.
제는 간시 나게 제시나 뉴 비달이 겨울치비시 님비 나게 처음에는 님비 톱치비 나게 제시 잡았다. 달 넘버 제비 파워에 되니인데 강기세나 간시 샘킹비 나게 달 도와야 네버 싸워는 좀 대타도 집은 도와를 치던 대버신도 내가 타주기 잡은 제부 첼레다 제바 조바 제비 달 남게 시차was.
The commentary begins with a question. Who is someone with pride? In answering that, it says, since those that hold the pride, that is the antidote in order to conquer the enemy of the afflictions, possess a strong counter-positive force, they are called proud. Those that are heroes because they were victorious against the enemy are also like that. Why? Because upon having definitely destroyed from the root the rampage of the enemy of pride, they complete the temporary and ultimate result of a conqueror, including the enlightened activities, in accordance with the wishes of migrators, also those who are divine. That is why they are called victorious against the enemy.
Sumba nyumbala ngaje chawala sumisa. Ngaje chawala sumisa. Nyumungi nimbi top kebar chawatan. Ti on chonse samye migura chawatan. Nimbo tembe samba kebar chawos.
Now, the third type of pride explained within the second power, the power of steadfastness, is being proud of the afflictions. That section consists of 3 points. One should develop the strength of the antidote to the afflictions. One should act so as to not fall under the power, even in the slightest. And the third one should develop a special intention to stabilize the antidote.
Top giver chavani, Nimun Choji Trenani, number 2 de Sensuk de Wala Sobe Singishi, Nimun Choji Mutsushis.
Let's begin with having to develop a strong antidote to the afflictions. In verse 60, it says, when amidst a class of afflictions, I shall be persistent with them in 1,000 ways. Like a lion amongst foxes and the like, I will not be injured by the host of afflictions.
Choso Nimun Choji Trenanena, Tabmandrava, number 2 de Nimbu Top Sen Somar Chati. Pena Wala Sobe, Singila Mutsuba Shendo, Nimun Choji, Mutsuba Chavos.
When abiding in the midst of types of afflictions such as anger, I shall stand up to them in 1,000 ways through the power of the antidote. For example, like the foxes who do not touch the lion, one should act not to be touched by the host of afflictions.
That's all the carson was not the nimbu of the nimbu the nimbu ngaje the top chevatan, yumbu ngaje the top chong but sungores. Top chawati, top chevati, chang to bayana, top chunga, kazus so bayana, zawin chumaris.
What this section is getting at is having to develop greater antidotal power that would be great, that would be bigger than afflicted pride. Sorry, antidotal pride should be greater than afflicted pride. If your antidotal pride is greater than your afflicted pride, you will not be overcome by pride.
The nimbu top the top chevi gunzen karesna, dembi tobinza, muyu netsugi pigi dinza, and zumba kanda chileva inaya, muyu netsu ti toni, and zumba di toriaji madogi, and zumbi dembi top chidang chom tuyachi yomarwas ra. But di chan, denzum chani, and nimbu di top cheva imbata, and Nyumbi chodi, top chong imbati, songores.
The reason why antidotal pride will not be overcome by afflicted pride is that antidotal pride is on the side of the truth, on the side of reality. A falsity will never be able to overcome, will never be able to destroy a truth. It will only be defeated, it will only be destroyed by the truth.
That the an imbit of the cheva in the young, Kaukalaya, Nanzu, and it's Newman biggie, Topgi, and it's Sam Jump down, and it Nanzola Tildradi, carries down the Nanzu imbit of the so Chang Matuanza, so suits Lava Lematuanza, and Newman big dog Jumper Mado, and imbit of Chani. And Newman bit of the Jump Dragic, down in your mothers.
And despite saying that, at times, a mind is destroyed by afflicted pride, and through that, we end up in a miserable state of existence. When that happens, it means that we haven't really reached out to antidotal pride. We haven't seized up antidotal pride and made use of it in order to destroy afflicted pride.
Never Diwan the Chonset of the Chinese, and New Big Narget, New Big on the Chonset of the Chinese, Nyamwa, Chetan, John Kirkan, Ming Sonata, Regine Yamon, John Kirkan, New on the Mindy Chess.
Then the Nyamun Chogi Chin and Nadilo. Such a Carloin? Okay. So verse 60 says, when in the midst of afflictions types, I shall stand up to them in 1,000 ways, and not let myself be touched by the host of the afflictions, like the lion and the foxes and such.
That doesn't go. Nyamwa Che Hande, Chatande, Nimun Jigochim, John Bega. May mean the Chimbu so that there's a new on the Doga Kavi, Nyamwan John Yuja, New on the Nugiva Chowers.
So then the next one, 61, says one should not fall under the control at all. Just as one protects one's eyes when great danger occurs, one should take care not to be controlled by the afflictions when danger occurs. When great danger, the great danger of afflictions occurs, when humans protect their eyes with great concern. Similarly, when there is the danger of falling under the control of the afflictions, one should take care not to be controlled by the afflictions.
대다들 세우도 하스라 아니 간주다 미 이슈 송집 치기라서 되게 늘려야지 년가를 치고 그들 카드 라운산치 동가야 미가야를 써봐 미 카드에 앞에 아니 kinship부터 송집 치기 여 가르스나 미 간주야 용구 쉬우죠 원사 아니 디진다 송집 치고 다 디이바이나 아니 샘디 딜리짱 아니 케치바디 샘디 차고라 다 샘디 뉴음발도 송바디 미짱 케치바도 디나신지 아니 송고.
This verse is quite clear. As soon as a danger occurs, the first thing that we protect is our face. We protect our eyes. We regard our eyes to be so vital, a vital organ in our bodies, so we immediately protect our eyes. Even more important than our eyes is our own mind. So certainly we should protect our mind like we would protect our eyes.
님부 템비 삼바 캬버진 깨버 차원이스 님부 템바 삼바 캬버진스나 님부 뉴문비 님부 잠바 인지 전주스 공연도 따와서 소바디 뉴문비 님부로 디 템부치 깨버 차와라 간레 상당고스란데 자베나 당 세이프 담 다긴고 제겐 라이 넘버 군드님은 달란도 못 차워스 대신에가 군주도 리발레는 셈이지.
The last point says one should develop a special intention to stabilize the antidotes. So what are the antidotes? The antidotes are loving kindness, compassion, mind of enlightenment, and the wisdom of reality. So one should develop a special intention to make them stable. Let's look at the next 6 lines. It says, it will be better for me to be burned, to be killed, or to have my head cut off, rather than bowing down to the enemy of afflictions. Likewise, in all situations, I should do nothing other than what is fit.
일단 먼저 뉴비게 상호도 교약이 년가 차슈죠디 먼저 류라야 네버 치우디 다 생주약이 년가 치시죠라서 다 류라 네버 쳐바이나 어머나 류 아니 메르시바 아니 류토바 아니 지금 뭐 깔라 쳐바라 소바 딘디 까울야다 아니 니무키야 로 나게키야 콘트라스트 किया तो दांसम किया दी नियंगा शुजर तो दी इंदी खजी हों पाई ना यहाँ आनी करांगी सेम दी न्यू विषावन दी शोरना पैसा करे तो जो लूज से पाई ना हम चिगरे तो पाई ना हम चिगरे गोचे पाई ना हम चिगरे मातो नी सुम चारो एक यो मारो करां सेम न्यू वन चिशो पाई ना आनी किया जुंचने 동안 연구해야지. 계란 포매지 연구해서 가두이나 샘리 원비 파닝 말이스.
When a mind comes under the control of the afflictions, it poses a great danger. It poses a great danger to us because our mind becomes disturbed. Here, Shantideva says that in certain situations, even if, let's say that you're burnt or you're killed or your head might be cut off, there's a danger that in those states in which you experience some forms of physical harm, that afflictive states of mind will forcefully rise. Pride, aggression, hatred, anger, and so forth. Here, Shantideva says that it's better for me to be burnt, to be killed, or to have my head cut off, rather than bowing down to the enemy of the afflictions. And the reason is that you might be killed in this life. It might be that your head will be cut off. In this life, it will be only a one-time occurrence. It will only happen to you one time that you're killed. But if you bow down to the enemy of the afflictions, then again and again, from one lifetime to the next, you will end up in miserable states of existence.
아무들이야 대신에가 탐주도 이번에는 셴메제세 hinzas 그런 그 두단 내가 탐지도 송리바디 셈 그냥 전부든지 전주 사람도 쏘고 뒤에 맞도 딜리 신기 자와카야 개치아지 지주요 말이스 미제스.
Therefore, it says, likewise, in all situations, I should do nothing other than what is fit, which means developing loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, and so forth.
제가 님부 때문에 셈을 송세다 다음에 식대 세버리 결단 다긴고 제겐 라이 남바군도 유무를 다긴 되고 미자고 대신도 내가 통주도 관심 좀시 님부 때문에 저 제리고래 자와신 제도.
The measure of having a stable antidote. It is easy for one to die through being burnt by fire or having one's head chopped off, but one should not at all bow to the enemy of the afflictions. Likewise, one should on all occasions destroy the objects of abandonment and make the antidotes stable. Thus one should not act in any way other than appropriately.
Sumba gavi tobla sum nomila mudeva kevala deva chavatan jebu yigachi de kevatu batan gavi tobla jali solo.
Let's look at the third part, which is the power of joy, consisting of 3 points: making perseverance in virtue without considering the fully ripened effect, accomplishing virtue by mentally engaging in the effect, and the way to apply oneself with the power of joy.
Nidadi namila mudeva kevala deva chavasevi kichimu pin sari sirwa hansina nganjutachi pena ngada ngandawagi ki chue test nyesum gosu cheva inaya kolhundi se dilaya kevin kariyungu yemechilaya migja matogi hawad kamji kumbi kombanti dubsha soni shuteni niwad bekala kam chagoras ngoni chue chebaina se di di tendo kariyemedi sawani dubsha di marwas dubsha di hawad kamji kumbi komban 미고자 딜리치 간지 소소 카리 비기려야 안추 간데 치비어 바이나야 안 세디 털어야 나는 캡상 카리고 한도 카리고 상록이 배 치주 저기 비 카디노 삼 닝기에서 말이스.
The first point is making perseverance in virtue without considering the fully ripened effect, which is quite difficult. When you practice the Dhamma, it's difficult to be solely interested in what will, how it will result in the state of liberation and enlightenment without thinking of what profit you get from it in this life. It's hard to do it. But here it says that when you practice the Dhamma, you should not be considering the benefits of your practice in this life, rather that you should be interested in the long-term benefits of a practice Dhamma, which means the state of liberation and the state of enlightenment.
자, 이내다 그 뒤탈을 내온디 안치 최신인진 바이나야 안치 그게 두신 올라다체 안치 세들이야 안치 또와 가리인 것도 안치 아니 가라 가기도 어디지 지려야 민시 아니 시 닝이 바이나야 안치 세들이야 핀도 가르도 어디지 지려야 민네 아니 최니시 제바이나 아니 최디 최 마힘 바차야게 Nyanga pedos, Chitangi chu namda chevaino, Sendela Pentachu, in the Kevachimal Pingri, Tawad Tamji Kim Kompala Pingiona, Kevachimal Pembadi, Memuguvaros, Kevachimal Pena, Sendela Pembadia, Memuguvaros, Ra. In a Sendela Pen to the Chitam, the Nyanda, the Chiglonju Tindicilea, Mingli, and in Drovaina, so what they were changing to Mingli, Nishi Chevani, Savanini. 아니 야지침 시험을 공부다 둥금내와도 난딘도 지기도스라.
It's particularly difficult now because nowadays when teachings are being given, so either you give the teaching or you listen to the teachings, we do that often in thinking what would make the listener happy, what would help them to generate a comfortable, a joyous state of mind, which means that of the main considerations that we have when we give teachings to others is how it's going to make them feel happy or good. Which means that we have a sense of consideration that is still mainly putting a focus on this life. So when we think of what would it be like to practice Dharma purely, to have a pure Dharma practice would mean that the benefit that we would be getting either from teaching the Dharma, from listening to the Dharma, should be oriented towards what will occur to us in the future. So if you practice Dharma purely, it can benefit this life. We can certainly become more happy, joyous in this life, and it will also contribute to future lifetimes. If it is helpful to future lifetimes, needless to say that it will also be helpful in terms of this life. If teachings are being given in having a sense of consideration for being remunerated or getting better reputation, social ranking, or what have you, then that type of attitude is not an attitude of a pure Dharma practice.
점된 되게 난 템비 다보기 쉐디 땡기 대와 드비 땡기 대와 세디 타와다 탐지 기비 공부하면서 아니 디 드비 탑 질러야 아니 쉐세디 땡여로스 라다 디 드비 탑 슬라운디 디 탑발야 파르증이 가르스 수금 고긴 치도 세디 아니 뉴모가 시시디베 코니 고긴 치르마도 수 강기장 달리한 고긴 치면서 다 뉴모가 시시디버디 간다치기 톤 정고도 간다치기 좀 두고도 세디 아니 추드 디레도스 딘자 먼저 추 냠냠 칸 제버디 랑규기 다자세다 티무숭 쯔비 아니 뉴모발야 네버 간다치 땅 두고도 수 네버 체 두고도 어디 삼치네 아니 추년시 제바나 추드 추차고레스 디메나 센드 잠을 상담은 추드 추만 있는 규례 베닝가 첨부 디레도스
We seek to attain the state of Buddhahood for the sake of long-lasting happiness, and what obstructs the attainment of long-lasting state of happiness are the two sets of obscurations, afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. The method to eliminate these two sets of obscurations is the Dhamma. The only thing that can destroy those two sets of obscurations is the Dhamma. Is one's Dharma practice. Nothing else can work. So that being the case, then we need then to consider the way in which we will destroy our two sets of obscurations, afflictive and cognitive obscurations. So if you're pondering, if you're thinking, how will I destroy my two sets of obscurations? That would be a Dharma practice. If you consider, what is harming me? Who is the one who is being harmed by those two sets of obscurations? In what way am I being harmed by the two sets of obscurations that constitute a Dharma practice? But if you do not consider the ways to destroy your own two sets of obscurations, and if you do not think of how you are harmed by the two sets of obscurations, and in your practice you're just seeking some happiness and comfort and relief that are limited to this lifetime only, you're turning Dharma to be something that is non-Dharma. Verse 63 says, just like those who desire pleasurable result of play, this Bodhisattva adheres to whatever task he may do. He is not satiated by it, it makes him happy.
레단 드레나스 제바카지 셈미 데빈 드레분 도바타라 찬주 셈반 디에 젠덴 차베 레 카임비 레 테바 삼바 딱 곰바 찬주 셈로 소보 곰바로 소비 레 텔라네 셈바티 조젠도 차디 레디 몽음시 gyummancheba chawu debi gabar chawos.
In the commentary to this verse, it says, just like children desire the resultant happiness of play, so should bodhisattvas have joy and grasp at their actions for the purpose of others, which means actions such as study, reflection, and meditation. So they should adhere to study, reflection, and meditations as what they do for the purpose of others. As it says, is such as listening, contemplating, meditating on bodhicitta. One should be so joyful that one desires their actions continually without being satiated by them.
Tirda dang hung gyew tambatso chöshya ondigi samjaza tsingzamdi tsingsangbo shil shayagi lamda luksu yewanza nganzu ta tiridel zamasha ranjaro chan chasa marisro tinza andilya ledi monghomshi gyumma cheba chawandebe gawar chawo se dilya ani samshani nganzu gyumma cheba ani lon luntun rotoya temdi yesra.
When the great masters of the past have taught scriptures, what they did sometimes was to leave a text undone, unfinished, as a token of auspiciousness, so that you will be compelled to go back to the text and continue to do that. So Geshe feels that although we had that goal today of finishing chapter number 7, maybe we should do something else, like those great masters of the past. Leave it undone so that next year we will be compelled to come back to the text and continue to study that. So it's a good point in time to leave it in verse 63 that says, just like those who desire pleasurable result of place, the Bodhisattva adheres to what task he may do, right? So he's not satiated by it, it makes him happy.
Dizata dangazuta lodigi nidon yishtambagi ta lokera chamba ti nangolaya angazuta BSP bigi ta zinda yan chunju yasum shawal sum chunju ti tolaya ani dawakashi jigirila ani yasum gonso chiya ki ta chi chagin zodi choju jawase de chibigi tu jinyarchi Tian chi ani lama kading chi yawrum chi tsubi ani ta risuma chi bi kew tambu tsubi tugi munung tobki angazu dus zomba chung rawas ra.
We're able to spend 2020, which became quite a famous year, in studying this BSP module on the Bodhisattva Charya Avatara. We spent a few months doing that. We spent our time in studying, reflecting, and meditating on the meaning of this text. That accords with the aspiration of not only first and foremost the Buddha, the Bhagavan, but also our lamas, such as, first of all, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the aspirations that they made for us was that may we be able to come together and study a text such as this. And we were able to do so.
Teni ta garden thabor de chawa ngara chule garden thabor chawa ta lam sobar muchi to get munong toki angan ta chuzon dinalo ya zom chi ni song kon so che gin chi so chi until 2 yabadi manzu sem ya ta khadin ta jining marwas ra.
And also the spiritual director of this organization, Kabja Lama Sopa Rinpoche, was very kind to us also due to his aspirations, his mind generation, that hoped and wished that we also be able to study, reflect, and meditate in this center, also in having established this center. So it's really also important that we acknowledge his contribution.
On the da kaso da chi kababgi chonju chemo ma linking into the and ngachaganza nge chi cancel ya chi len thamcha chi tu ya di and so jawrum chi kade how do the ngarangi sendishni kyamne ani tachi kaden dame ani gyarum chi ge lomon ringa ya ani chi ngala ya kalu lam de re ani pedri na ya re and this shall ya chi kanji ani sadam thondam and chi kanji dulo khandam suje ne ani lavji ge bi kaden de ni ni khanan chula ya ta chi len namazun des ke chung yo banza ani khonam bi ge tuji kaden di tu namya je minye machik reshas.
We spent some time studying Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, and the person that conveyed those teachings to us, that gave us the message of those teachings, was Geshe. So being able to convey the meaning of the teachings to us is attributed to our source of refuge in this and future life, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Geshe got those teachings from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and therefore he was able also to pass them on to us. But of course, it's not only from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but also from Geshe's root teacher that was so kind to him in so many different ways. Of course, teaching him the meaning of a text such as this, but also teaching him even simple things such as the way to have his food, drink, the way to dress up, and so forth. So due to the kindness of Geshe's teacher, he was able then to pass it on to us. Geshe says that also in acknowledging those that have facilitated the ability to do so, we acknowledge His Holiness the Dalai Lama and also Geshe's teacher.
Dili dinza tadi parado dangona nga manam tawai dingi shuja de digidos the dingi jigden chege do racha do tsawni ni man nguye ne su yin sirwa ane gen simje nangala ya sim shushara ange shogja soda shogja da yogo mazun ge sudu chongre stroto gre samding ge choyo bote kali ches again hel chinpa ane shuda yan dindil ya chi mulam jewo de jamsini ani gengi chi namji chabe tidana jin chi shuchi chi song de da chi an dindil ya tanga gomba shinga nyegang shimba jile ya drawing shudi geng ke ma nganyam de nyesha de degrees dindil ngamalam na dindil tangso.
Geshe had a dream yesterday, and he thought that maybe it's nice to share the dream. It's not something that is involved with the 8 worldly concerns from Geshe's side. So, last night in his dream, he was dreaming about being in the room with his teacher, being in the residence of his teacher. And as he was having a conversation with his teacher, he thought that, and it was evening, he said, well, I need to quickly go and make a cup of tea. To offer you tea so that you will not go to bed with thirsty or hungry mind. And his teacher said, just take it easy. You don't have to rush, just take it easy. Then it seems that the scenery has changed, or the dream has changed. And again, Geshe was with his teacher and said that, well, I need to kind of leave you to rest, to get some sleep, and I need to go somewhere else to continue with my study. And his teacher said, don't worry about it. We can still do it together. We can still kind of stay in the same room together and kind of go to bed together.
That ngarangi call and dance rada dangi ji lodi nangwala ya chunju ji kantudu kanji ngarangi nibala pabe ani samba nangda ji shebati ani gyarum ji tula ya phayo sari samsung gi chowa chons ra.
So Geshe says that he has his own way of putting some meaning into something like that. We have spent this year in studying Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, and Geshe reckons that that is something that would make his teacher's mind be really happy.
Kejul Koran Kadinza, Ani Tunamia, Ani Kadinti, Jenny Maris, Rati One the Kadichem wings, raw. Yeah, okay. Of course.
And also, since Geshe doesn't speak English, and we've studied this module with translation for me, so Geshe said that also have to remember me. So do I need to translate that? Geshe said, of course.
The Tamusia, missing the Tangu Godas, and a Nanzugi Shingodas, and a Benata, no show Lombalaya, Chuzok Pemambuyori, and Chuzol Lombalaya, Chugi Mambo, Chugi, one Chugi, Yagatazoni, Coranzorangi Pe, and a cake Tony, Song Tugoras, that Chugi Terja, Nando Imbana, Kigulia, Martin Tamich in that, and a nge namju samgyus ta ngoni kegyu nani kegyu yakshu te ang thambo res da la thumar de ne ya kegyu yakshu ti yin sam nge gaw gong yus.
There are many Buddhist centers in the West, and many of them have very good Dharma teachers that are able to give teachings in kind of the local language, the local mode of, the mode of instruction is the local language. So they have the ability to fully utilize their ability to give teachings. And Geshe says that since his English skills are still quite poor, he's not able to converse in English well, he has to rely upon a translator. So all things considered, Geshe says, even if his translator is not the best translator in the world, still probably of the better ones. Geshe says, I need to translate that well, otherwise you'll get him, you get it the wrong meaning.
Pizza Tigiris, the Nibadi and Nanzudi Lermo Kodi Chingi, so that and a Nanzulo True Large Drogiore, he Nangolaya, and it Zinda Kodi Chingi, so the Katie Morales, and one edgy Hotuki Kamda Mobile Tumba, and a Yahoo Shoots, Jigidu Sambi. And so is the indigenous and Tangan Sami with Sashi, Tangan Garden Chishuna Digidos and Garden Chishuains.
And also we had a team of people that support a study program. They coordinate the study program. First of all, we had Kathy Victor that has been doing it for so many years, and at least in the years that Geshe has been here for more than 6 years, Kathy has been the coordinator for the study program, and we all enjoy whatever we enjoy because of not only her coordination, but also the ability to do that in a sense of harmony and communicating others in a way that is so responsive and kind. So on behalf of everyone, Geshe would also like to thank you, Kathy.
Any those any children dinolaya and Rurucha, Tadirucha, di so di Kabogi, the Legaching, Sotori. And Chungchi, SBC, Anichi, Gomba manager, that to some Tony, Nanzulia, Katichimushu Kanyoris. Katichimushu Kanyoris.
And also, we had other roles at the center, which we also feel a great sense of gratitude to. So, a director, an SBC, manager, service manager, maintenance, and so forth. All of them have also ensured that we will be able to continue with the study. So we also have to feel a sense of gratitude for those who have participated in the putting together of the center and building the facilities and maintaining them.
Yeah, that couple of legation so Jipita and Metsamaki devoting with Sambala, Kakolayachi, and in Deva Mountain Bar, and this Samsung Mountain Bar, and December Magiva Tindi Inguyores. Yinayang and Legaching at some low true that do massing some Jinaya and Leji Kajusu Givatama in a some low and in need Tolani, but massive Yaguyus. Some of them Michik, Piggy, Samsung Mountain Passage. So in Mess, 인자 인캬나도 딘디지긴 알아야 아니 장정마야디 인타바니 garden cheese shares.
And when you take up any one of these roles and you do your job to the best of your ability, it's impossible to make everyone's happy. It's impossible to, it is very difficult to act in a way that accords with everyone's wishes and expectations and to always be in accord with everyone. But at least Geshe says that in the years that he has been here, more than 6 years, and in working with so many different people here at the center, different SPCs and directors and managers and so forth, there hasn't been even one single person that in which Geshe had a great disagreement with, or sense of disharmony, or someone in which Geshe had great expectations or great hopes and the person has completely failed. There hasn't been any such case until now, and Geshe would like to first of all express his gratitude to all the people that were involved in taking up different tasks and responsibilities at the center up until now, and thank you very much for that.
Anytime on Zuma number, any game Cashiores, any consu told me by Naya, Kaduinea, Chimanzudere, Chimanson, Mondo, that should so to come down, and Subuch or Mojo, you are a tico, you said the mother, Timain, big to the Samalaya, Manzo, Yamshuchi, Samas, Kadinea, touch Nichi Lavana, and Gishila Chick loves so still with somebody, the town length and Karantu, Tandapa the Naya D, and in his family, Zawin James. And Muntuni, then on the Lamasorum Kagore, Yarum Kagore, Tembachilia, and the Shandab Shugoya, Ding on the Legainza, and on the Muntuni to Drogoya D, and Kansas Assembly Sharochis.
And also we have a community of monks and nuns here at the center. And during the years that Geshe has been here, he knows that some of you, of course, have had some things that you had to attend to, things that you had to do. Sometimes your physical well-being is not that great, but still, in terms of trying as much as you can to fulfill Geshe's hopes and expectations, Geshe feels that you have been doing that way and beyond. So thank you very much for that. And also, considering that we want to continuously offer service to our teachers, in that sense, we repaid the kindness too. So to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Kyabje Lama Sopa and so forth, we've been doing it up until now, and we would like to continue to do that. So please also make sure that you keep that in your mind.
Tenida, Nanzo does chi any Zinda Sokalaya, and Sosagi, and Sokan the Sokan Yabazamas, Sokan Taman Jemba, Kaduina Chitsama, and Sokan Nolaya, Chikoson to the Imbainata, Yataji, Naransu, Chipenjol, Yataji Yabadi, Kabogi, Legaching in Suk, Garden then Choyoros, Tardun the Chik Nanzo, Tugnolaya, Chinanandagi. Any garden shine the soba, some low consta and in Michi the mean Mugu and the Sus Condashinari, garden sama soyari, Langa sama soyari, Metop Taviari, the kanji, some low repair, Leganium the chimney, the kanji, Nidon Yushtambadi, Chitangi Lodi, the Kasuda. Mikangalaya, Ganga shoes, Chebi Lodge Chavardine, and Chuzonolaya Kanji, and Yataji Choyores, Tinza, the Goni, Sugar, Samologi, Guardian, and Choyer mother, Michik Suja was Chagomaros, Tinza, Legaching Samolaya, and sending Kuzida, Guardian Cheese Shays.
Also, we have, first of all, this assembly hall with lots of statues and texts and stupas and so forth. And not only we have people that have contributed to that, but also those that maintain this space, that clean it up, that are responsible for the arrangements, offering, and so forth. But not only this assembly hall, this Gompa, but also in looking at other areas of the center, like, for example, the Nalanda Master Garden. Rather than mentioning each one of the persons that was involved in contributing either money or work in kind for the creation of the Nalanda Master Garden, we can include in our thoughts all of those that have contributed money, all those that have sponsored, all of those that have poured cement, those that have poured the roads, cemented the roads leading up to the center. The team of gardening, those that are beautifying the place, planting flowers and such all across the property. This year has been quite a tumultuous year everywhere. People experiencing so many problems around the world. But when you think of our situation here at the center, we were able to, to accomplish quite a few things, even though this year is quite a problematic year. So it is not a work that only one or two or handful of people have done. There are so many people that have contributed to that, and we acknowledge all of their contribution. And also keeping in mind that this year has been a difficult year and so many people around the world getting sick, and yet none of us has contracted COVID-19 or got sick with a serious condition, cold or flu or otherwise. So we were able to continue with a study, and in the few months that we've been studying diligently Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, we have had to take only 1 day break when we had no power, when the solar system was installed. So being able to, despite all the things that have happened this year, to continue with a study and do it day in and day out for more than 6 months is, you can say that it is the blessings of, enjoying the blessings of a system like that and all the things that arise through studying a text such as this. So it is not from Geshe's power, right? So it says that he doesn't have much power to create those conducive conditions for that, but it is through the power of having studied and put effort into studying a text such as this. And it's also a time to dedicate all the roots of virtue that we have accrued together in studying, discussing, teaching a text such as this. We can, first of all, dedicate it for the preservation and spreading of the Buddha's teachings, but also to the long life of all our spiritual teachers, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and so forth. First of all, may they enjoy long life, good health. May all their hopes and wishes be spontaneously fulfilled exactly as they've intended to. And when we wish that to all our spiritual teachers, we do that without any sense of bias and discrimination.
Chidang Lodi, Tanjishiva Nanshin Gita, Kalakawa Shucha, the Yang Cheris Chuzon Dinaloya, and Kendri Choni, and it Kunda Dindishuare, Jangal Matungo Chimbu, and it Kunda Dindishuare, Teni Junju Zinda, Nima Chi Yamacheba, Nuntun and Rotuya Soba, Tozo Samalo, and Dindish Chonsons, and Deletani, and the Ruchi Kuzishabe, and Deros shared the near some pep massive occasion with us. Till Hagaji, Nanzu Kuzishabe, and in Buach, Tanganzu Pure Ragmaris, Pure Yomaris.
On the 25th of this month, Kopan Monastery is going to offer a long life puja for Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche. So also in thinking of what we offer for the sake of Lama Sopa Rinpoche, long life and good health, we were able to continuously study Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life in this year. Not only that, we also were able to host the statues in the Nalanda Master Garden, the 6 ornaments, the 2 supreme ones. Also to host a statue of Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche. So none of them was an easy feat to accomplish, and we were able to do so. So all of this is in accordance with Lama Sopa Rinpoche's hopes and expectations. And as such, when you think of offering something for the long life of your spiritual teacher, there's nothing better that you can offer to Lama Sopa Rinpoche's long life other than fulfilling his wishes. So then on the 25th, when Kopan Monastery is doing the puja, the long life puja, also think of making that offering to Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche, all of our activities here at the center during this year.
And Zambalin the Kamge, and it ne Nugi Chutsu, that you can but some law, and it Ransel Shilly, and it Niton Nushu Tampa Zoni, Niton Nushu Sajis Shavatan, and Zambalin the Hali Tashin Givach, Yongyagi, and Gurdova Shosen, Tanganziam, Namja Teresro.
And finally, we will also make a prayer together by the roots of virtue that we have created. In so doing, that may all problems, conflicts, hunger, famine, and so forth, whatever sentient beings, whatever suffering sentient beings experience in this year, 2020, may all of that go away at the end of this year as we transition to a new year. May all the sickness, suffering, pain, war, famine, and so forth, may all of them be gone in the new year. So thank you very much. It might be that there are a few more things that Geshe had to say, which he forgot, so he apologizes for not mentioning others and not saying other things that he should have said. Om Raja Bhumya Om Vanche Segi Sashi Om Raja Bhumya Om Chi Chari Koyugi Koyusu Viya Bhurila Shalo Kakolo Jamboli Nubala Chujagami Lutalupa Maya Shen Yodentana Chodo Dami Dami Yagita Rinpoche Rivo Pa Sangi Shin Jojo Yompa Mamu Paye Loto Kolo Rinpoche Nobo Rinpoche Sumo Rinpoche Nobo Rinpoche Lambo Rinpoche Mato Rinpoche Mapo Rinpoche Teche Boye Bumpa Gere Ma Chewa Ma Lu Ma Dama Meto Ma Dupo Ma Sanza Ma Chichama Ni Ma Dawa Rinpoche Chole Namba Gyawe Gyalten Usulata Mi Pancho Punsum Soba Ma Tawa Meba Zanshi do wadi da chi chen sawa kan yupa chebe pa den lama dampa gamba kimpa duya yongi gewe shen yen chenpo geshe punsun chu chenpa shenpo zemene teba chenpo sunchu samo lepa tope Kanduwa giwo she drowe tundu she suso shene danso drowa magyu danten tatanyam sen shen tam chela to se wa chenpo gune shinti latu Ramri Ramingchi Niliden Vali Sangye Shindu
I'm requesting more teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Guru Radha Sorry? Ah, okay. Ninyududa lama sangye jugune joa chikyama lupa se salagoha Rinpoche make pana kikuchi kevanya pa me pan gone gundu pewa Kowe shinkanji pendan dewa malu juwene Chenresi wanten zingya tsori Shapesi te vadu tengyuchi Janshin jangun gyawe Tenzi no bewe kumso dopo tse Chosun kowe le montuju Pada sojuji kondu shapten shu.
Geshe has done so much thanking, and I'm sure I can't do it really as beautifully or extensively as he has. But there are a few people that I would like to thank for the success of this year, that we really wondered if we'd be able to do it. And it's amazing. I was just saying to Sonia before that we go back to April and think forward, and it's just incredible that we were able to do all this throughout the year. And that's due to a lot of people. First of all, I'd, of course, like to express our thanks to Lamzopa and Geshe for putting this whole program together. And to all the staff at MPHT who have supported us for so long. We we started doing this course 20 years ago when there was very little support. But now there is so much. They've worked so hard to put it together, and it's growing all over the world. So many thanks to them. Of course, our main thanks here go to Geshe. Without him, we wouldn't have the teachings. And we are so grateful for all the effort that he puts into not only teaching us, but inspiring us by his example, his incredible wish to be kind to them. And I'm sure it's had a huge effect on the people at the centre. So we pray and hope that he will not have any visa problems and that he'll be able to stay here for a very long time. And Venerable Kartsen, for all that he does, and it's so much. I mean, not only is he interpreter for this teaching, for these teachings and all the other teachings that happen here, but he's taken on the job of tutor, which he does with great enthusiasm and does very well. And he sets the review questions, he does the tests, he even marks the tests, which is not his favourite job. So on behalf of everybody, many thanks to him too. Now there's a lot of other people who keep the course going. Venerable Churki, who does all of our discussions and supports everything in so many ways, to the people who do our meditations, to Venerable Tony, Venerable Dachin, Venerable Pagan, and anybody else that I've missed. Thank you so much. It's such an important part. Rinpoche really stresses that meditation is such an important part of what we're doing to integrate the teachings we're receiving. So without Jason setting up that recording every day, our Dropbox wouldn't have any audio files. Our transcribers would have difficulty getting files to transcribe, and he's there so reliably every day and has done it for so long. Thank you so much, Jason. And thank you to Sonia, who has organised all the transcribing for us. You know, by the end of this week, we'll have 85 teachings having been transcribed. And you can see by the names at the top, there's a lot of people helping. And we thank every one of them. But Sonia really does a lot of it too. So thank you so much. And to someone who's not here today, but maybe will watch it, Margot, our media genius, who got us off the ground with this and supported us all the way through. In a way, our program has a lot to thank COVID for, because really, it was about time we got this together and started offering it to all the people who are getting it through Zoom and through YouTube. But we never would have done it. Well, maybe we would have, but it would have taken us a lot longer. But we had to do it. And Margot has been the one who has really helped us to get all that happening, of course, with Karsten's assistance and the other people who've learned how to do it. We've learned so much over the last year. I have to have a list. Geshe can think of it all. Also to the Sangha and the other people who helped them to make our Gompa beautiful. Now that we're coming back into the Gompa, when we come in here, it is so welcoming. It is so beautifully kept. And so thank you very much to all of you who keep it like that. And thanks also to the students who are helping support us in this. We haven't made a course fee for this year. People have been making donations. So thank you so much to those people who have been enabling us to keep going with these teachings. And please keep on doing that. And a final thanks to our very hardworking executive and the staff of the centre, especially to Shannon for the support that they've given us, for helping in really difficult times to keep some kind of structure here that will enable us to keep going. Without them, we would have been floundering. So thank you very much to them. We have so much to rejoice in. Thank you so much to you all. And we pray that it'll be auspicious for our teachings to continue next year. but also for many years into the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I guess that you have to be spiritual program coordinator for Until Samsara ends. The BSP, sorry. The BSP coordinator. Yeah. All right.
We had some requests, but I didn't know if other people wanted to make parties or anything.
Sorry?
We had the Sangha request,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if other people wanted to make
Kata offerings?
Kata offerings, other people.
We're already offered. We're already offered.
I've already offered, okay. All right, Sangha then. And it's,
Yeah. I wasn't reminded I forgot all about it.
huh?
I forgot all about it.
People joining me?
Yeah.
Joining us?
Yeah, no.
It's a separate request. No need for speech.
Well, teaching Vinaya is really easy. To guard the rules is hard.
And then they can't go with this special to be able to guide us who are very poorly disciplined and to remain with us and teach us and guide us. And our teachings may be general and we have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the deal. That's the deal.
Yeah, I guess that's what I know. The request was made. Venerable Cherokee was still holding on to their offering envelopes, and only one Geshe wants
That's why I need the knowledge. I'm teaching, I did the wrong way.
as if Geshe said, I don't know, had he said no, you would probably kept it.
So we just took advantage because it was the only time to be able to make that request. Better representation.
Thank you so much for teaching. Thank you.
That's all right, you've got it the right way. Just think offering your body speech right.
Where you going, Tessa?
Thanks, Mr. Yaki.
Thanks.
I did online. Yeah. Me, cash. Ugh.
Thank you, Venerable Fatima. Thank you.
Are you coming to?
Totally. I don't know. I'm not with him this week, but
Okay.
he might be.
All right.
I think he's aware, so if he's coming, his choice. Yeah.
There's been a request for a group photo.
Yeah.
Not sure who's going to take it. We want everybody in it, especially you.
I don't know who the photographer is.
So we're going to have a group photo for the end of the biscuit here, so please come forward. Group photo.
Everybody group photo.
Photo time, everybody.
Yeah, she's ringing up.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, they might think we've cancelled.
What about everyone online saying, yeah, 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 yeah. Would you like to just say for the Gina? Anyone else wants to? Now's a good time to tap around and
And today,
okay, yes, please say share today. Thank you. I've taken a couple of extra.
No, excuse me, before we all go, we've run into a bit of an issue. That Husk and Honey only has room for 15 people because of COVID, and there's at least 20 people coming. Now, they've already sort of, we said we would be there at 12:30, and so they've already sort of turned away business because of us.
I'm not hungry.
So yeah, so I'm just,
oh, we don't cut it down to less than 15.
We better go pronto though.
Yeah, you better go.
just, yeah, only 15 people. They've got enough room for 15 people, but no more. Raise of hand who's going. And Geshe, of course. Is anyone else? That's only 9. Okay.
How many is that?
So that's only 10.
5 more.
5 more.
So we're okay then? Yeah, but we better go. We need 15 though.